Welcome to our block printing lesson. You will need a linoleum block, water-soluble relief ink, a brayer, printmaking paper, and a wooden spoon that we will use in place of a baren. You will also need a variety of carving tools. I would recommend a blade in 4 or 5 for the background area and a blade in the 1 or 2 range for the finer details. The first step is creating the image you would like to print. For this step, you'll place your lino block on a piece of paper, outline the area, and this will give you the space you have to work with. Once you've done this, go ahead and draw your image inside of that area until you're happy with it. Once you have the image you would like to print, outline that with a dark colored marker. When we get to the carbon copy step, this will be very important, especially if you have any text or lettering on your image. The next step is creating our own carbon copy paper. Take a piece of scratch paper that is roughly the same size as the print you're going to be making and shade it completely in with graphite or the lead of your pencil. Once you've done this, making sure it's completely covered, go ahead and cut that out so it's the exact size of your printing paper. If you haven't already cut out the paper you're going to use for your block print, go ahead and do that as well. You should now have your lino block, your carbon copy paper, and your final print. Place the carbon copy paper upside down so that the graphite is touching the lino block. Then place your print upside down on top of that. Because you used a dark colored marker to trace your image, you should be able to see the image through the paper. Use a pencil or a pen to outline the entire image, pressing firmly at all times. When you finish tracing your entire image, remove the rough draft paper and your carbon copy paper. You should see your final image left on your lino block. If the image is too faint, you can trace it again with a pencil. Usually the image left behind through the carbon copy process is dark enough to allow you to carve. Once you have your image on your lino block, you're ready to start carving. In your block printing tub, you'll find carving tools. Take a look at the blades of your carving tools. You'll want to choose a blade that's similar to number 5, 4, or 3 for your first round of cutting. When you begin carving, choose an area that's the background. Any area that is not near the lines you've created for your final image would be a great place to start. As you get comfortable carving, you can start working closer and closer to the lines of your image. Remember that the goal of this step is to make sure that all areas that you do not want to print are significantly carved down. I'm going to show you a video that gets a little bit closer so that you can see what this actually looks like. Notice that the background has been completely carved away. I'm now getting closer and closer to the image that I want to print. This step can take a while, so don't feel rushed. Make sure you're taking your time. If you make a mistake, there's no going back. So go slow, work your way towards your image, and make sure you're grabbing thinner carving tools if you need them. Once you've finished carving your lino block, you're ready to start printing. Start with a very small amount of ink. You'll want to roll your brayer going upwards and then downwards, and then side to side. Notice that I'm not rolling the brayer back and forth. The goal here is to make sure the entire brayer is covered with ink. If you have gaps like that, you'll want to keep rolling until the entire brayer roller is covered with your block printing ink. When your ink is ready and your entire brayer is covered with block printing ink, you're ready to ink your linoleum block. Start by moving away from you, placing the brayer at the base of your linoleum block. Using one swiping motion, move the brayer up towards the top of the block. If you notice that there are areas of your linoleum block that do not have ink on them but should, go ahead and go over it one more time with your brayer. Place your block printing paper on top of your linoleum block. Make sure that you let it fall onto the block without moving it side to side. Once your paper makes contact with the ink, make sure you're not touching or moving the paper. Grab your wooden spoon that you'll be using as your baren. If you need to hold the paper down on the sides, go ahead and do that, but be very careful not to move the paper around. The ink is a little bit sticky, so it should hold itself in place a little bit. Rotate the spoon clockwise or counterclockwise, but make sure you're using circular motions and even pressure. When you're confident the entire block has been printed, go ahead and remove the paper by lifting just one corner of the paper up from the block. Be sure you repeat this process multiple times. You want multiple prints to choose from because each one will turn out differently. Once you have a print that you're happy with, you're ready to mount your print on your piece of wood. Do this by applying glue or Mod Podge to your block of wood and use an old paintbrush to smooth out the glue. This will help prevent air bubbles and bumps from showing up on your final print.